Once upon a time, there lived 3 piglets with their mother in a small house. It was time for them to leave their home and learn to live on their own. Their mother called the 3 piglets next to her. "My dear children, the time has come for you to go out into the world. Go and start your new lives, but don't ever forget whatever you do in this world, do the best you can. This is the only and the best way to stay alive." A little sad, with a bit of excitement, the 3 little piglets said goodbye to their mommy and were on their way. After a while, they found out some piece of land where they could build their own home. The youngest piglet was determined to build his home with straw. He thought this was the easiest and the fastest way to build a home. That way, he had heaps of time to play. The youngest of them all finished his house in one day. He yelled out to the other piglets,
"Hey, you guys, I'm already finished."
The middle piglet decided to make his house out of wood from the branches he had collected in the woods. He decided to build a little cubby house. His house took exactly 3 days to finish. This house was a bit more steady than the one with straw. While the 2 little piglets were having a great time in their newly built homes, the eldest of them all was constantly working because he was building a home from bricks and rocks. The other piglets thought that his effort was useless, and all they did was play around and kill time.
Why would you bother with this when you can quickly finish like we have?
Hey, how scared is he?
The eldest piglet didn't bother listening to them. He worked for 1 whole week and managed to finish his house made out of bricks and rocks. A day later, a hungry wolf arrived at their home. He first stood in front of the house made of straw. The little piglet was resting in his house made of straw. The wolf knocked on the door.
"Open the door and let me in. If you don't, I'll huff and puff and blow your house in."
You can't do anything to me. My house is steady enough.
And so the wolf huffed and puffed and blew his house in. But with great effort, the little piglet managed to get away, and off he ran over to his brother's house made of tree branches. He knocked on the door, and when the middle piglet opened the door, the little piglet threw himself inside the house. After a while, the wolf came by the second piglet's wooden house and yelled inside.
Close the door. The wolf can come in here.
"Open the door and let me in. If you don't, I'll huff and puff and blow your house in."
And so the wolf huffed and puffed and blew his house in and brought it down. Both piglets ran to the 3rd piglet's house and barely got away from the wolf.
Brother, the wolf is going this way. What are we gonna do?
The oldest piglet answered, very sure of himself.
"Don't worry, the wolf cannot come in this house."
A little later, the starving wolf came by the 3rd piglet's house of bricks and stone and yelled to the 3 piglets.
"Open the door and let me in. If you don't, I'll huff and puff and blow your house in."
"Don't you even try, you bad wolf. You cannot come into this house."
The wolf got very angry. He huffed and puffed, but nothing happened. He could not bring his house down. He tried and tried, but could not move one single brick. Finally, being exhausted, the wolf decided to try another way to go in. He saw the chimney up on the roof and started to climb. Realizing that the wolf was going to climb up on the roof and come down the chimney, the piglet quickly lit up the fireplace right under the chimney and put a big bucket of water on the woods. The wolf barely climbed up the chimney and threw himself and went straight into the boiling bucket. Finally being free from the wolf, the piglets were filled with joy in this world.
We
We have done our best. If you really work for something, it will be a success.
From that day on, the two piglets were never lazy. They worked hard like their big brother and lived a happy and safe life.
The Sweet Porridge. Once upon a time, in a little town, there lived two young twin sisters. Their names were Kai and Ezzy. At a very young age, the two were orphaned and lived by themselves all along. They became so poor that they could hardly get something to eat or even go to school. One good thing about Kai and Ezzy is that they loved one another so much and were so kind to everyone they met, including neighbors and strangers. Now, Kai was so good in singing. She had the most amazing voice ever. On the other side, Ezzy was a very good dancer. One day, Ezzy was sitting at the table near the window in the house, staring at the sky outside. She was so bored and tired and stressed. She thought of how miserable their life was and started crying painfully.
Mommy and Daddy, why did you leave us? No one else cares about us. We can hardly get a cup of porridge to eat. Please tell God to fill our pot with porridge. Please, Mommy and Daddy.
Kai was watching her sister from a distance. She felt so sad. Suddenly, she had a thought. She went ahead to share with her sister.
My sweet sister, you are a good dancer, right? And I am a very talented singer. Why don't you go to the streets, perform our talents, and maybe, just maybe, someone will be touched and reward us. By doing so, we will make little money and buy food for ourselves.
Oh, that's a brilliant idea, sis. Let's do it now.
So, Kai and Ezzy left the house and went to the streets. They performed so well and people gave them some money. They went home, made porridge, and felt so good about themselves. This became their daily routine. Sadly, things were not the same for them every day. One day, they went to the streets, sang, and danced, but no one stopped to give them anything. Ezzy was so frustrated the most and started crying.
Stop crying, sweet sister. Mommy and Daddy are watching us from heaven. We will not sleep hungry.
As they were walking home, they met an old man and woman by the roadside trying to cross the road. But they could not because cars were moving so fast. The old man and woman had stood there for a while. Kai felt so sorry for them, and together with Ezzy, they decided to help the old man and woman cross the road.
Thank you so much, Kai and Ezzy. We almost slept on the road.
Thank you so much, Kai and Ezzy. You are welcome.
Wait, how did you know our names? We've never met you before.
Oh, that's not important. The most important thing is that you have helped us and we would want to repay you for your kindness. What would you want in return?
Ezzy and Kai shouted,
Sweet porridge. Okay, young girls, go to your house, collect all pots, as many as you can. Go even to the neighbors, borrow their pots. Then take your empty porridge pot and start filling the other pots with sweet porridge. Have enough and even carry the rest to the streets tomorrow. As you sing and dance, share with all the poor people in town. None of your pots will ever go dry.
But how? How can an empty porridge pot fill other pots with sweet porridge?
Stop, sweet sister. Let's just do as you have been told.
Suddenly, the old man and woman vanished. Kai and Ezi were so scared. They ran home so fast and did as instructed by the old woman and man. What an amazing surprise! It worked! Kai and Ezi were so happy. The following day, they carried so many pots to the streets and fed everyone with sweet porridge. From that day, Kai and Ezi became so famous, rich, and very influential because of their sweet magical porridge. They never slept hungry again.